Welcome back, everyone, to Hearts of Iron 4, and what the fuck, this is Westeros. So, as you probably saw, this is, of course, the Hearts of Ice and Fire mod. Now, you may be thinking, this is absurd, ridiculous, doesn't make any sense. Hold on. So, you may be thinking, yes, this is a medieval world, but no, it isn't. It's actually transported. So that's the reason why, in a way, I kind of like the mod. Because, like, okay, it doesn't make any sense to transport Hearts of Iron's mechanics into, you know, Game of Thrones normally. But this does it in a way that makes sense because it's actually transporting the world into just 1936. So everyone's just fighting with guns. Now, this essentially it's trying to, you know, port the same kind of story as GOT into Hearts of Iron. So you're going to be doing mostly the same things. You're going to be seeing mostly the same things that you see, you know, in the TV show and the books. So yeah, essentially it's just Hearts of Iron 4 vanilla. So that kind of because vanilla is derpy, and the mechanics actually are very similar to vanilla because yes, there's some event-driven stuff. There's some decision stuff, but it's actually mostly just like vanilla Hearts of Iron 4, so it's mainly driven through focuses and things that happen for that. And that means that it's gonna be mostly the same. Now, I've played this a few times while it was in development. It's still in development. It's like in 0.5 version, but they're updating this continuously, so I decided, hey, why the hell not? I'm just gonna showcase it to you. So the one thing that I like is the graphics that they've done. So essentially, day. Is it a day or is it one guy? Well, here it's two people. So yeah, okay. Anyway, one thing that I do like are the graphics because as you can see, they're using, because of course, like all these actors are real people, you know, so they're just using a bunch of modern pictures, you know, and they're made it to be like portraits from Hearts of Iron. Of course, in the East, in the Essos continent, and you know, in all the other continents, Safarios and Ufos, all blah blah blah, it's all, you know, just like vanilla stuff that's remodeled. Just like, for example, there's fucking Saudi Arabia over here, and yeah, it just kind of adds to the experience, I guess. You know, a bunch of these guys are just, you know, their own thing, and then you have fucking House Targaryen, Viserys Targaryen, all that. So essentially, this is supposed to be like the world of Game of Thrones before this guy dies and before this guy dies. And so the story, if in case you know it, you know what's gonna happen. In case you don't know it, go watch it. Seriously, it's good. And if you don't want to watch it, I guess then you don't want to play the mod as well. Anyway, there's focus trees for most of these countries. This is just the Crown Lands here. It's just a reworked UK. You'll notice this with, you know, a lot of these houses and free cities. They're just reworked versions of Hearts of Iron 4 countries. Sometimes even like the names of these counties. Yeah, for example, here you've got Cherkasy. You've got Kayseri. You know, this is supposed to be in Ukraine. This is supposed to be in Turkey, but you know, they've just reworked the map. So I like the way that they've actually remodeled this. And yeah, as you can see, there's the Pacific's missing, but there's, wow, okay, sure. There's that, and yeah, essentially, so the Westeros is just what you expect. There's like the main houses, except for some reason, Karstark and Bolton exist. Even though none of the other like houses have the miners, you know, released. Actually, you know, I used to remember that there aren't really any of the, well, there's Freys, there's the Freys, but yeah, none of the really like minor houses are there except a few, like the, you know, more, you know, the more famous ones from the show, which is kind of unfortunate because that's the one thing I kind of like. Oh, really? Now you've got, oh, okay. That's kind of the one of the things I dislike, because it would have been very interesting to have all the minor houses in there. But again, it's just kind of like a very limited modding team. Oh, of course, there's Bear Island over here, Mormont, and wow, Zivko. Interesting. So he's, of course, a Dominion of this guy. Then there's, you know, the Night's Watch, blah, blah, blah. communist Danes, aka the Free Folk, all of that. And then there's just SOs, who are essentially just, you know, the Eastern continent. There's just all the free cities. There's the Free Bank of Switzerland, which is just derp. And yeah, that's just what you'd expect. Now, the focus trees are, again, for all the major houses. Some of these are not that interesting, but some of these are okay. Like, they do their job. They do their job. You know, all these guys have unique ones, although you do not. House Tyrell and Tully also does not. He's got a generic one. Oh no, okay, that's actually... Never mind. Never mind, he doesn't have a unique... he does have a unique one. Okay. Well, that's good. Sometimes the things look very, very good, and sometimes they don't. Like, for example, here, these ones in Tully, they look awesome. But, for example, if we would look at Greyjoy here, they're just kind of derpy. Like, I'm not saying they look bad, it's just they're not as polished. So yeah, as you can see, he's got a unique one. Lannister, of course, he has a unique one. Then Vale, do you have a unique one? No, you don't. So you actually have the generic one. And there's Stannis over here, of course. Most glorious man in all the universe. And then there is up here, Stark, of course. He's got a unique one. It's relatively small. Do you have one? No, you don't. Do you have one? Of course not. And I believe you also do not have one. Oh, no, you do. Okay. You do, you do, you do. So I guess that's fine for you. Even though, you know, localization is missing. And then in the east, I believe, well, if there's anyone that... No, okay, so you don't have it. And then the only one then that has a unique thing is House Targaryen over here. So there's just a whole bunch of things that are supposed to take you down where, you know, the whole story is going. It's going to be a relatively short mod spotlight here. I'm not going to really play it right now. But yeah, the conflicts that happen play off in a relatively... you know, decent way. Sometimes people betray each other, which is kind of funny. And there's some things that some of these guys can do, which are, of course, you know, kind of interesting. Like, he can assassinate Renly and take over House Baratheon, of course. And essentially, everyone's, like, armies are just based on, like, you know, Hearts of Iron in terms of the names. Like, for example, he's supposed to be France. And, you know, the strengths sometimes are iffy. Sometimes are iffy. Sometimes they make sense. And, yeah, he's just there. He's got a bunch of mountain divisions. Then he has, you know, very strong armor, of course, because he's great. And, yeah, he can do some interesting things. So, yeah, that's probably going to be just about it. There is actually unique... leaders for, you know, I never saw that, actually. It used to just be called democratic. So the ideologies, the way they work is just like, they're not really supposed to be like, he's fascist, he's communist, blah, blah, blah. Although generally communist is more like people who are supporting the faith, because of course, you know, they're like the popular rebellion, a little bit like the peasant wars in Germany. Then you have, you know, democratic sometimes is just like opposing the other guy. Like, for example, here you can have Tyrion lead House Lannister. Here, if you're Greyjoy, the democratic guy is Theon. But if you're Stark, well, you're democratic at the start. So, yeah. And the Three-Eyed Raven cult. How interesting. The Northern Royalist movement. Yeah, there's just... so there's, like, various factions all over. Although, as far as I know... they don't really, like, you know, fight each other ever, which is just kind of sad. And yeah, as you can see, these guys are still, some of these still have their names from regular Hearts of Iron 4. So that's just kind of derp, but hey, it works. You can play as Baelish if you want, and be a Nazi in the Vale. And yeah, that's just kind of about it. Do they have, I wonder if they have portraits. Wonder if they have portraits. Oh god, I forget. I forget how you do this. Is this the way it works? Nope, it does not work this way. It does not work this way. How do you work? Set ruling party, right? Yes. Democratic. Change the current ruling party to democratic. Yes, it did work. Awesome. I'm not sure if everyone's gonna have, you know, develop portraits and stuff, but you can do these things. And as I said, the way one of the things I really like is the aesthetic, because it's, you know, it's kind of like they're modern, right? Because it's supposed to take place in 1936, or in a 1936 equivalent, with people with guns and, you know, mortars and all around. He's Russia, so he's got Kerensky. Is there a Kerensky portrait in vanilla? I don't need to see this. Yeah, hold on. I'm sorry, I'm just derping around at this point, but I just want to see if there's a Kerensky portrait in Vanilla Hearts around. No, there isn't. Sad. Anyway, you can reform the Valyrian Empire, of course. The Targaryens are the ones that... Jesus Christ. Give me back Daenerys, or Viserys. Actually, let's check out Daenerys' portrait. What the what do you mean communist is not an available ideology group? Jesus fucking Christ. Well, that's retarded. Come on. Oh, that's bullshit. What do you mean that this is not the case? Fucking well. So, these are the guys that got the focus tree, you know, in the last update, so they're the ones that use the new features. And actually, it's one of the focuses that has the most, I guess you could say, polish. There's apparently a dragon mechanic, which I have no idea how that's going to work. Although you do start with shitty divisions, so you, I guess, are going to need things to work out. Jesus Christ. So you guess if you play as these guys, you're going to need things to work out your way. You're going to have, you know, to use your unique things. You're going to have to use your unique things. And, yeah. Essentially, just have some extra things. Fascist amend referendum. That's pretty great. So you're going to have your things, and the further down you progress your focus tree, you're going to have more options. Like, for example, if you unlock T26s, you can recruit the Second Sons, I guess. Not sure how that's supposed to work. Yeah, because, of course, you're supposed to be Russia, right? So, yeah, you've got... Wait, what? I was lied to. That's not a Matilda. Yeah, of course, there can be bugs, but hey, who gives a shit? And the United Islands. Oh, that's supposed to be the Summer Islands. Yeah, there's like some random hints that things are gonna get spicy in like other things when they have time to actually make focuses and like stories up for these things. Like there's Safari Republic, there, South Africa. And there's of course like, you know, all the East. If you know a bit about the lore of GOT, you know that there's a bunch of stuff over here that's very, very weird. And of course, there's, you know, Jan Gesher being the Emperor of the Golden Empire of ET. But yeah, that's basically about it. It is playable. Not the most polished thing in the world, but it is playable, and it is sometimes pretty fun. So yeah, go ahead and give it a try. As always, the link will be in the description. Hope you'll enjoy it. And yeah, I'll see you soon. Have a good day.